Hello and welcome to a brand spanking new CraftySimulations video here in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. Alright, last video I released was a first video of a brand new series called Crafty Tours, and basically it is a chance for me to show off various scenery packages we have available here in the sim, both payware and freeware, but showing it off a little bit differently than just getting in an aircraft and flying around it, or a helicopter and flying around it. I actually used the Parallel 42 UTV lunacy vehicle to drive around the various bits of scenery. We did the Burning Blue Designs Airfield, which is stonking scenery, but it gives you a chance to see the levels of detail that go into scenery. It's all very well sitting in an aircraft and you see it from the live side, but what happens if you actually go drive around the bits and pieces that you can't take an aircraft around or a helicopter around or anything like that? So I've decided to come up with this series, and like I say, it is going to be based around payware as well as freeware scenery, so showing the detail levels off between the two. Now, obviously, we expect something from payware because we are paying for it, but we also kind of expect something from freeware, and yes, it may take longer to create, and maybe the creator doesn't have the accessibility of that particular piece of scenery, but there is some brilliant freeware sceneries out there on the sim. I run a freeware RAF Waddington and RAF Scampton scenery packages, which I haven't featured Scampton too often, but Waddington features quite a lot, so I will be showing that off. And like I said, the first video was of the Burning Blue Designs Airfield. Well, on that note, I have Burning Blue Designs Redhill Airfield, we would like to call it, here in the sim. Now, I am going to create a video with the UTV around this scenery. This is not that video. This is going to be more me flying from and going around, doing a circuit around this amazing scenery. Now, being that it's Burning Blue Designs, obviously it's going to be amazing. It is going to be awesome, and it is. I've flown from it now 3 times now, I think, and it is a very, very good airfield if you like your general aviation-themed flights, which obviously this channel does. So I thought I would bring one of the best single-engine aircraft here in the sim, the A2A Comanche 250, and I would also bring it to one of the best general aviation VFR airfields here in the UK, created by Burning Blue Designs, Redhill. So, being that this is the first time Redhill has featured, we are going to go through the facts of the most important parts of the scenery as of Burning Blue Designs' idea. So they say, in their own words, over 170 custom 3D objects, each with full physical-based rendering PBR textures. So we're used to the letters PBR nowadays. It basically translates to very, very realistic, and you get that. All this behind me is Redhill, and it just looks so realistic from the aircraft's perspective. I mean, obviously, if you zoom in and were stood right next to that wall, it may look a little bit different, but from here, it looks exactly like Redhill, which it should do. Going all the way around, we do have some custom buildings set over there with a custom hangar. Runways are grass strips here, so they'll blend into the background. A joy to land on. We do have a concrete slash tarmac runway, which is right over on the end there. I don't know whether that's active, if I'm honest. It's rather close to the wood there, the trees. But all the buildings are very well created, what we expect from Burning Blue Designs. So based on a 2022 layout with accurate runways, taxiways, and custom taxi signs. So they pick a date when they create a package and they create a scenery. Now, yes, sceneries, or should I say real airfields, update themselves every few years, add buildings, take away buildings, companies come, companies go. You can't see too much here, but these are all company signs, and these will be accurate. Everything will be accurate as of 2022. So there was an update in October of 22 where runways 08/26 runways were redesignated to 07025, and previous 07025 were redesignated to 0624. So there has been a bit of redesignation. I do see this quite a few times in Flight Simulator where the runways do not match the real world runway markings or runway designations. I have a rather large holy Bible for airfields in the UK. I think, if I can get the title of the thing, it is from Pooley's, so it is all official, but it's a Pooley's flight guide, which is for 2024. So this is accurate as of 2024. So anything that changes after that, that guide will not be accurate. And amazingly, I always thought runways never change, but they do. The designations do change. So we also have highly detailed control tower and hangar interiors. So that's control tower, and I'll tell you now, it looks exactly like the real thing. The hangar buildings do have interiors when the doors are open, and they are accurate when you get up close to them. We have animated hangar doors which close at night. Parking spot number 7 open manually with taxi lights. So wherever parking spot number 7 is, which I'm guessing is somewhere down there, you can manually open the doors when you have your taxi lights, which I guess you have to flash, something along those lines. The scenery will respond to that. I haven't tried it, but it is a thing if you want to park your aircraft in a hangar. Completely custom windsock and dynamic animated flags. So the windsock, we have a windsock over here, which is animated. Whoops, no, don't want to see the aircraft, thank you very much. So it's a usual animated and functional windsock. We do have another windsock. Where is it? It's over there. Again, all animated. Flags I haven't seen, but they could be literally anywhere. Dynamic visitors change depending on the time of day, so that could be people, I think. We do have a cafe stroke restaurant over there, and obviously people will be sitting outside. I would be watching the aircraft go by. Real life static aircraft based at Redhill, so any aircraft that was based or is based at Redhill is a static for this scenery. So we do have, just popped in, we have a Cessna sat over there, some twin-engined, I think, over there. One of the helicopters are over there. And there's a few more aircraft and helicopters sat over there. There's multiple different aircraft and helicopters all over the place here. Adds a bit of a level of realism, I believe. Full night lighting and dynamic weather compatibility. So we do have a full night lighting effect for this airfield. I don't know how, well, there must be night lighting for obviously the taxiways. I don't know whether the runway becomes night lighted. Obviously there's lights there. So I'm guessing there must be some form of night lighting on the runway, or at least one of the runways. I don't think it'll be, because there is quite a few runways here. It is quite confusing when you load up on the sat-nav. GPS even, I should say. Enhanced high-resolution colour-corrected ground textures. So the scenery, the ground textures are correct and realistic. And this goes obviously for any of the scenery around the airfield, around the taxiways. Now, I will be showing off, soon that end, I will be showing off this airfield in a Crafty Tours video in the near future, which will show off the level of detail that goes into a Burning Blue Designs creation. Now, it's all very well seeing this from an aircraft's point of view, but we only see it from the aircraft's point of view, i.e. when it's parked up. And when we're flying, we're not really paying too much attention to what the scenery looks like, other than the fact of it is damn realistic. But taking the UTV around this place will show off just how much level and how much detail goes into a creation of this scenery. And like I said, I will be doing payware as well as freeware sceneries in the future. So, got that all out of the way. We are going to be doing a little bit of a circuit. It's going to be a little flight here with the best single-engined general aviation aircraft here in the sim, the A2A Comanche 250. It is fantastic. So fantastic, I haven't flown it in ages. I just have not had the time, really. I've been doing a lot of other things. But I thought, no, this is the aircraft I'm going to do it in. So I've been doing a little bit of practicing, getting used to my handling on the ground, on the grass, which is completely different to tarmac. Landing on an uneven ground as well, which is always interesting. On top of that, as of about a day ago, I have managed to catch mad cow disease, stroke man flu, and I do feel a bit different. So if my voice does sound a little bit different, I'll try and edit it so that it does sound a little bit more human-ish. But if there is a few cuts, it's because I go into a spout of sneezes and coughs and all the rest of it, and I don't think anyone wants to hear that. Interesting fact, before I get going, This scenery, the real Redhill Airport, does actually feature in a YouTube series of videos by the flying reporter, and he flies a Piper, oh, I've forgotten what it is, Piper Arrow 3, I think. Might be a 4, can't remember. But he does feature a lot of general aviation content flying his aircraft from pretty much this parking spot. I do believe it's either this one or that one he usually starts from. So if you're interested in seeing the comparison between this and the real Redhill, go onto YouTube and have a look for the Flying Reporter. Very, very detailed content. Shows you what goes into general aviation VFR flying. So that's all out the way. Let's get this up and running. We'll just load the tablet up, make sure everything is correct. This is A2A after all, so everything has to be fine. So I've turned all those off, kept the parking brake on, that's fine. Don't need anything else. Right. So the fuel system is on. I already turned that on, because if I don't, the aircraft will not start, and I will be confused, which doesn't take much. Right, okay, so we'll have the parking brake is on, battery is on, rotating beacon is on, put the column back on, that usually helps. Start priming. 1, 3, we'll give it 1 for good luck, and we'll keep that unlocked. Right, so centralize this, turn on my Trackir. Right, so that's done, make sure it's full. I don't know if you have to do that, I can't remember. I haven't flown this aircraft in so long, I really haven't. Right, okay, so clip up. Magneto's over to both. Let's see if she catches. So throttle is 1/2 inch open. Get up to 1,000. And we'll shut that. Plug the intercom in. It's a lovely little gizmo here. You actually get intercom, and you can also do, there's an option for, makes it more realistic. I'm going to run it like that. Let's see if that actually sounds any better. Right, so mixture will pull back just a touch. We're sitting at about, where are we, about 1,000. Fuel is right in both tanks. Fuel pressure is good. Oil pressure is in the green. Oil temp is in the green. Ampage is in the correct. Press speed, do the shortcuts. Right, so we'll now set up this. So flight plan. We're going to keep in the same area. So Echo, Golf, Kilo, Romeo, Redhill. As you can see, on the 750, when you program in an arrival and departure airfield, even if it's the same airfield, you get these lines, and these are the runways. It just goes out and gives you an area where you can start lining up to go into the runways. It's very difficult to line up, so you have to really zoom in before you see the separation in the lines. I do believe that runway there is the tarmac one, which is right across there. We're not using that today. Oops, no, not that. Go away. So we'll pull that out. Right, so squawking 7,000, that's correct, and we'll turn that on. Don't need to do anything else. I'll leave that on there before I go to altitude reporting. Just checking. Strobe light can come on later. Pitot heat can come on later. We'll have the autopilot system start to settle. Flaps come down to 1 stage. Right, we're going to actually zero the altimeter, because we're staying in the local area and we will be landing back here. So that's zeroed. Don't need an ADF, but we will turn it on nevertheless. Right, do believe we are ready to rock and roll. Clear on the right. Always find this scenery quite, oh, obviously it's very, very good, but this taxiway is very bumpy, or the aircraft reads it as being quite bumpy. I don't know how bumpy it is in reality. So we are going to go out from 25 left, which will be the main runway. So we are going to do our run up just here. Park ourselves in such a way that obviously when we do this, we don't want to be creating too much of a distraction for, or any dust or debris gets kicked up from the run-up. Right, so parking brake is set, mixture is full. Let's lock that off, we don't need that anymore. So we're going to run up to 2000. RPM. Set and holding. Left mag. Both mags. Right mag. Both mags. Left mag. Right mag. There's a bit of a deviation there between the two of them, but we're still within the correct one, and we'll do the cockpit cycle. Run up correct. Right, so we now go to altitude hold, altitude reporting, go to back, get that set up, that's fine. Blah blah blah. Landing lights coming on. Pitot heat is coming on. Fuel pump is already on. Flaps are down one stage. Right. We are correct. Well, as correct as a person who doesn't know how to fly is. So, departing out of runway 25 left will be a right-hand departure. Got plenty of space here if we have any issues. Just to mind that light. So, obvious obstacles. We do have trees at the end of the runway, but we should be well airborne before then. Any issues with the engine, if we can, we'll put back down again. If not, we will be swinging back round to come back down on the opposite runway. Plenty of space. We do have an up-climbing runway here, so, well, we do go diving down a little bit into the hill, a bit of a gully down there, so we'll get the speed up. Once we get airborne, gear up, flaps up, hold the speed, well, build speed up, and then we'll start our climb out. Like I said, right-hand departure. So everything is set and correct. Coming off the brakes. Let's go. Airspeed's alive. There's 50. There's 60. 70. Nose up. Brakes, gear up. Start our climb. Flaps going up. Now, being that we are in this local area, of which I have not been in for quite a while, if you just look over there, you can see two towers over there. That's Gatwick. One of the busiest airfields or airports in the UK. So we don't want to be climbing up too much. So we'll get ourselves up to about 1,000 foot. I think there's a height restriction of about 1,400, I think. So airspeed's good, climb's good. We'll getting a bit of altitude here. So there you go, there's Gatwick, just popping in and popping out as the scenery loads in. So we'll set up our autopilot, which is that one, and set up our altitude hold, which is that one. Landing lights coming off. That beeping is the trim warning as the aircraft is now settling and levelling out on the altitude hold. It does beep, and depending on which light, it says trim up or down. So if the light is obviously lit up in the up section, you just keep trimming up until the light stops and the warning stops. So we are holding at about just shy of 1,200 feet. So we'll do our usual routing. Well, I say usual routing, it's the first time I've shown this flight off. So now I have been playing around with, I have an Nvidia graphics card in this sim, in this computer even, and I do have the Nvidia app. And I did accidentally let Nvidia set up the sim regarding graphics levels. Now, it's done some absolutely fantastic work. I mean, the sim, I've never really had too many issues with the sim. But it has made the shadows, I don't know whether you can see, yeah, there's a little bit of jaggedness. Now, I run a custom shadow level here in my computer. And for some reason, Nvidia's overwriting it, so no matter what I put, what we got, trim up. So again, whatever I put in the config file is being overwritten by Nvidia, so I've got to sort that out. So I do apologise if that's a bit annoying. It's, you know, Nvidia at its best. So, alright, we'll pull the mixture back just a touch. Start a right-hand turn. Very hilly scenery around here. And always my favourite is trying to put an aircraft down on a grass strip when you have grass fields, trees and woods and all sorts all around it. It makes it quite interesting trying to spot it, which is the reason why when I run a GTN 750 I do tend to put in into the flight plan, even if I'm going back into the same airfield. I put the landing airfield back into there, and it, like I say, adds these lines, which gives you a guide. Not much good for Redhill, because like I say, there's so many runways. So Redhill is currently somewhere, whereabouts? Well, it's somewhere down there. Yeah, it's round there. Oh, the GPS knows where it is. I've always said the A2A Comanche 250 is, in my view, the best of the single-engine general aviation aircraft, and I think if anyone knows what A2A is like, they'll pretty much agree. It's fantastic. It's awesome. It's just a shame that they never got round to releasing a second aircraft. They did have plans. I think they still have plans to release a twin-engined aircraft. This aircraft is actually based off a real aircraft in which is owned by A2A, by the head creator. And he also has a twin-engine aircraft, which was also going to feature in the sim. However, unfortunately, in the work that was needed to map that aircraft into the sim, there was an accident. I don't know what caused the accident, but it was a very damaged aircraft, unfortunately. So it kind of put back the idea of getting it in the sim. But last time I did look in, they was still planning on creating this twin-engine aircraft. I can't remember off the top of my head what it was going to be. But another A2A aircraft is not a bad thing. Also, they used to have a lot of aircraft in FSX and P3D. Not so sure about X-Plane, but all A2A aircraft are absolutely fantastic. I know in FSX days, in FS 2004, they used to create the Warbirds, Spitfire and Mustang and P47 and Texan / Harvard. So absolutely awesome, along with Cessnas and Pipers and all sorts of general aviation aircraft. Even a Constellation, the mighty four-engined transport aircraft, an early airliner, was created by A2A. Now, we don't have a terrain warning system on this map. I know on the G1000s that I run on the DA42, I do set up my second screen to be a terrain warning, which is a good idea when you've got hilly terrain like this. I mean, there shouldn't be anything. That's probably the closest bit of scenery we've got to our height. And we do have to cover it and drop into this valley here, which will be our run-in to back into Redhill. But good observations, got clear visibility. Yeah, we should be fine. As I said before, I am using Rex Atmos. It's the latest Rex application. It's released, well, about a month ago now. Adds a whole new level to scenery, how it looks in the sim. Atmos being the atmosphere. It is a weather engine as well, up to a point. Obviously, it still uses the Microsoft weather-based system, but you can set up profiles, and then other players can basically download those into their sim. So I'm running an atmosphere and something else. I can't remember exactly what it is. There's weather. If I just bring this up. Yeah, so we have an atmosphere and an environment and a weather system. We're not running the weather at the moment, but we are running the other two. Right, so let's get into our mindset for landing. So we'll turn that off because I need that. Landing lights are coming on. Oh, should have had the strobe light on. Anyway, PTO heat is on. Fuel pump is on. Fuel system is on the fullest tank, which is both, which is fine. Alright, so I'll bring this in. Gives us a rough idea. So spotting the airfield in this haze is going to be interesting. We'll fly the autopilot as much as we can as we go on to our approach. Airfield's in sight. Autopilot is now off. And altitude hold is off as well. flaps one stage. Mixture's coming full. Just a little bit to the left of the runway. Got the pappy lights in sight. Gear coming down. So we'll try and keep a bit of altitude on the approach. We do pass over some buildings and over a rather large road. One can presume that's probably the M25. Maybe. A big motorway anyway. Right, so flaps are one stage, fuel pump is on, landing lights are on. Speed is good, gear is down 3 green. Correct. Now, believe it or not, there is 3 runways sat right in front of us. You can see how grass runways do tend to blend in. Obviously, we've got to realise this also, the runway will be climbing up. So if we get down the runway nice and early, we'll be alright. But if we do not get down the runway quickly enough, the runway will come up to meet us. Do get bounced around a bit here. Flaps coming up. So we are going to run across, we should be at the end of the other runway, which is just there. We haven't got any traffic in the area, so we're good to roll as we head towards the main taxiway. Right, so autopilot system can come off. Mixtures pull back. Heat is now off. Fuel pump is off. So we'll have the fuel pump back on. Joyous part of A2A aircraft, they do tend to need managing. Right, okay, so turn it off, landing lights are off, strobe lights is off, rotating beacon is on. Clear to join the taxiway. Now we started our flight off over there, the control tower. We are going to park up over here where that Cessna is. Well, we got a staff member to park us. Brakes on. And parking brakes on. Right, so fuel pump is off. Checking everything. Let's just pull back. So there we go. Welcome back to Redhill. I think we can safely say this is a fantastic scenery. You can just see the levels of detail that goes into this scenery. It's just absolutely fantastic. And like I say, I will be creating a Crafty Tours video with the UTV and just showing off this scenery because it's absolutely fantastic. I mean, we don't see stuff at the back here and down this little track here. So it'll be interesting to see how far the level of detail goes. So I hope you've enjoyed this little video. I hope you've enjoyed the A2A Comanche 250 and the Burning Blue Designs Redhill scenery. I will be obviously featuring more content around Redhill in the future. If you have any questions or comments, please bang them below and I will quite happily answer any of your questions regarding this scenery and this aircraft. If you have enjoyed this video, I hope you have, and I will see you in a future Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 video very, very soon.